Greetings everybody, it's Patty here. This article I'm bringing you today is from the National Center for Science Education. This is really just kind of a reminder video, and it's about gravity. Alright, a lot of people seem to have forgotten that gravity is still only a theory, and it's not proven as facts. So when somebody's trying to create a video that needs to have facts behind it, you can't put out content with facts when the facts are only based on a theory. Alright? And yes, gravity, it is still only a theory. All physics textbooks should include this warning label. This textbook contains material on gravity. Universal gravity is a theory, not a fact, regarding the natural law of attraction. This material should be approached with an open mind, studied carefully and critically considered. The universal theory of gravity is often taught in schools as a fact, when in fact it's not even a good theory. First of all, no one has measured gravity for every atom in every star. It is simply a religious belief that is universal. Secondly, school textbooks routinely make false statements. Yeah, they do. For example, the moon goes around the earth. Well, if the theory of gravity were true, it would show that the sun's gravitational force on the moon is much stronger than the Earth's gravitational force on the moon. So the moon would go around the sun. Anybody can look up at night and see the obvious gaps in gravity theory. The existence of tides is often taken as proof of gravity, but this is logically flawed, because if the moon's gravity were responsible for a bulge underneath it, then how can anyone explain a high tide on the opposite side of the earth at the same time? Anyone can observe that there are two, not one, high tides every day. It is far more likely that tides were given us by an intelligent creator long ago, and they have been with us ever since. In any case, the fact that there are two high tides falsifies gravity. There are numerous other flaws. For example, astronomers, who seem to have a fetish for gravity, tell us that the moon rotates on its axis, but at the same time, it always presents the same face to Earth. This is patently absurd. Moreover, if gravity were working on early Earth, then Earth would have been bombarded out of existence by falling asteroids, meteors, comets, and other space junk long time ago. Alright. Furthermore, gravity theory suggests that the planets have been moving in orderly orbits for millions and millions of years, which wholly contradicts the second law of thermodynamics. Since everything in the universe tends to disorder according to the second law, orderly orbits are impossible. This cannot be resolved by pointing to the huge outpouring of energy from the sun. In fact, it is known that the flux of photons from the sun and the solar wind actually tends to push Earth away. Wow. There are numerous alternative theories that should be taught on an equal basis. For example, God, I just lost my place. Just lost my place. For example, there we go. The observed behavior of the Earth's revolving around the sun can be perfectly explained if the sun has a net positive charge and the planets have a net negative charge. Since opposite charges attract and the force is an inverse square law, exactly as proposed by the increasingly discredited theory of gravity. Physics and chemistry texts emphasize that this is the explanation for electrons going around the nucleus. So if it works for atoms, why not for the solar system? The answer is simple: scientific orthodoxy. The U.S. Patent Office has never issued a patent for anti-gravity. Why is this? And that is a good question. According to natural law and homeopathy, everything exists in opposites: good, evil, grace, sin, positive charges, negative charges, north poles, south poles, good vibes, bad vibes, and so on. We know there are anti-evolutionists, so why not anti-gravitationalists? It is clearly a matter of the scientific establishment elites protecting their own. There you go. The scientific establishment elites protecting their own. Anti-gravity papers are routinely rejected from peer-reviewed journals. And scientists who propose anti-gravity quickly lose their funding. So, it goes down to money again. Money and the elites. Okay, so, money, money, money. Lose their funding. Universal gravity theory is just a way to keep the grant money flowing. Did you catch that? The universal gravity theory is just a way to keep the money flowing. Alright. Even Isaac Newton, even Isaac Newton, said to be the discoverer of gravity, knew that there were problems with his theory. He claims to have invented the idea. Okay? So actually it was only an invented idea early in his life. But he knew that no mathematician of his day would approve his theory. So, what did he do? He invented a whole new branch of mathematics called fluxions, just to prove his theory. This became calculus, a deeply flawed branch having to do with so-called infinitesimals which have never been observed. Then when Einstein invented a new theory of gravity, he, too, used an obscure bit of mathematics called tensors. It seems that every time there is a theory of gravity, it is mixed up with fringe mathematics. Newton, by the way, was far from a secular scientist, and the bulk of his writings is actually on theology and Christianity. His dabbling in gravity, alchemy, and calculus was a mere sideline, perhaps an aberration best left forgotten in describing his career and faith in a creator. To make matters worse, proponents of gravity theory hypothesize about mysterious things called gravitons and gravity waves. These have never been observed, and when some accounts of detecting gravity waves were published, the physicists involved had to quickly retract them. Every account of anti-gravity and gravity waves quickly elicits laughter. This is not a theory suitable for children, and even children can see how ridiculous it is to imagine that people in Australia are upside down with respect to us, as gravity theory would have it. Yeah. If this is an example of the predictive power of the theory of gravity, we can see that at the core there is no foundation. Gravity totally fails to explain why Saturn has rings and Jupiter does not. It utterly fails to account for obesity. In fact, what it does explain is far outweighed by what it does not explain. When the planet Pluto was discovered in 1930 by Clyde Tombaugh, he relied on gravitational calculations. But Tombaugh was a Unitarian, a liberal religious group that supports the theory of gravity. The modern-day Unitarian Universalists continue to rely on liberal notions and dismiss ideas of anti-gravity as heretical. Tombaugh never even attempted to justify his gravitational calculations on the basis of Scripture. He went on to be a founding member of the Liberal Unitarian Fellowship of Las Cruces, New Mexico. The theory of gravity violates common sense in many ways. Adherents have a hard time explaining, for instance, why airplanes don't fall. Since anti-gravity is rejected by the scientific establishment, they resort to lots of hand-waving. The theory, if taken seriously, implies that the default position for all planes is on the ground. While this seems true for Northwest Airlines, it appears that JetBlue and Southwest have a superior theory that effectively harnesses forces that overcome so-called gravity. It is unlikely that the law of gravity will be repealed given the present geopolitical climate, but there is no need to teach unfounded theories in the public schools. Damn straight. There is indeed evidence that the theory of gravity is having a grave effect on morality. Activist judges and left-leaning teachers often use the phrase, "what goes up must come down," as a way of describing gravity. And relativists have been quick to apply this to moral standards and common decency. Finally, the mere name universal theory of gravity, or theory of universal gravity. The secularists like to use confusing language. Has a distinctly socialist ring to it, doesn't it? Universal theory of gravity. Yep, it does have a ring to it. The core idea of to each according to his weight, from each according to his mass, is communistic. There is no reason that gravity should apply to the just and the unjust equally. And the saved should have relief, and the saved should have relief from such universalism. If we have universal gravity now, then universal health care will be sure to follow. It is in this kind of universalism that saps a nation's moral fiber. It is not even clear why we need a theory of gravity. There is not one single mention of it in the Bible. And not one mention of it from the patriotic founding fathers. They never referred to it. Never. Overall, the theory of universal gravity is just not an attractive theory. It is based on borderline evidence, has many serious gaps in what it claims to explain, is clearly wrong in important respects, and has social and moral deficiencies. If taught in the public schools by misdirected educators, it has to be balanced with alternative, more attractive theories with genuine gravamen and spiritual gravitas. So, that is just to remind all of you out there who have forgotten that gravity is not a fact. It is still only a theory. And to any children out there that might come across this, whatever you're learning in school nowadays, seriously, take it with a grain of salt. Alright, everybody, again, gravity. It's only a theory. Thank you.